Standing in the dimly lit hallway of the funeral home, I received a phone call that shattered my grief into pure terror. The trembling voice of Julian Vance, the longtime employer of my late wife Carolyn, echoed through the receiver with an urgency that made my blood run cold. He demanded that I meet him at his private office immediately, warning me to hide this meeting from my own son Preston and his wife Natalie. My name is Arthur, and until that very moment, I believed my family was united in our deep sorrow. We had just spent the morning organizing the final arrangements for Carolyn, who had passed away suddenly after a brief and mysterious illness. Now, Julian was telling me that my life was in grave danger if I stayed near my own flesh and blood, forcing me to slip away into the cold rain. For over 30 years, Carolyn and I built a quiet, comfortable life based on mutual trust and dedication. She managed the finances for the prestigious import firm of Julian, earning a substantial fortune that she planned to pass down to Preston. We supported our son through every business failure, though his ambitious wife Natalie always seemed highly dissatisfied with our modest lifestyle and constantly demanded more financial assistance. As I drove through the dark streets of the city, my mind was racing with terrifying questions and dark scenarios. I kept looking in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the car of my son following me through the shadows. The familiar streets felt strange and hostile as I realized that the people I trusted most might be hiding dark, unforgivable secrets from me. I arrived at the corporate office of Julian, my hands shaking as I unlocked the heavy glass doors of the building. The executive suite was dark, illuminated only by the glow of a computer screen displaying complex banking transactions. Julian looked older, his face pale as he pointed to the monitor and revealed a series of unauthorized bank transfers that had drained the retirement fund of Carolyn. The records showed that Preston and Natalie had gained access to the digital accounts of my wife weeks before she became ill. Julian explained that Carolyn had discovered this theft and was preparing to confront them before she suddenly collapsed. My chest tightened as the horrifying truth began to dawn on me, suggesting that the sudden sickness of my beloved wife was not a tragic accident of nature. Julian handed me a medical toxicology report that he had secretly requested from the private laboratory of the hospital. The document confirmed that Carolyn had high levels of a rare prescription sedative in her system at the time of her passing. My mind raced back to the herbal teas that Natalie insisted on brewing for my wife every evening during her final days, realizing the sinister intent. The realization that my own son was involved in the demise of his mother filled me with a mixture of profound grief and boiling rage. Julian urged me to go to the police immediately, but I knew I needed absolute proof to ensure they would never escape justice. I decided to return to our family home, pretending to know nothing, while secretly preparing a trap to catch them in their greed. Sitting in my car outside my own house, I took a deep breath to steady my racing heart before entering. I had to mask my devastating sorrow and act like a grieving, clueless father who was completely unaware of their betrayal. The warm lights glowing from the kitchen windows, which once brought me immense comfort, now felt like the entrance to a dangerous trap. When I walked through the front door, Preston and Natalie were sitting at the kitchen table, sorting through the legal documents of Carolyn. They looked startled by my sudden return, their eyes darting to my coat as if searching for clues about my absence. I forced a weak smile, sitting down with them and announcing that Carolyn had left a secret safe deposit box filled with cash. The greedy expressions on their faces confirmed everything Julian had warned me about, as Natalie immediately asked for the location of the key. I lied and told them that the key was hidden in the old garden shed, claiming I was too exhausted to retrieve it until the next morning. They urged me to rest, insisting they would bring me a warm cup of tea to help me sleep. Instead of drinking the tea Natalie prepared, I poured it secretly into a small plastic vial to save as evidence for the police. Hours later, I crept downstairs and observed them searching the garden shed through the window, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. I locked the shed door from the outside, trapping them both inside before dialing the authorities to report the crimes they had committed. The flashing blue lights of the police cruisers soon illuminated the driveway, casting long shadows across the lawn as officers arrived at the scene. Preston screamed through the wooden door of the shed, begging me to release them while Natalie cursed my name in desperation. I handed the vial of toxic tea and the banking records to the lead investigator, watching as they were handcuffed. In the quiet aftermath of their arrest, the heavy silence of the house felt both devastating and peaceful as I mourned Carolyn properly. The betrayal of my son was a wound that would never fully heal, yet I found solace in knowing that her memory was finally protected. Justice had been served, even if the cost of that justice was the complete destruction of the family we had built. This painful journey taught me that true family is not defined merely by blood, but by the love, loyalty, and respect we show to one another. I now live a quiet life, keeping the memory of the kindness of Carolyn close to my heart every single day. We must always protect the people we cherish, because sometimes the greatest threats hide behind the most familiar and trusted faces.